I'm Dr. Brandi.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And you're in for a
hell of a ride.
Everything life, love, and legacy.
Yes, yes. Buckle up.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
I'm Dr. Brandi.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And you're in for
a hell of a ride.
Everything
life, love, and legacy.
Buckle up.
Let's ride.
Jesus.
There we go. You got it right that time.
I got it right the last time.
4 is a charm.
It ain't gotta be. I am perfectly. What is it? Perfectly imperfect or imperfectly perfect or something?
Perfectly imperfect.
And what I just said was imperfectly perfect. Like it's not gonna be perfect all the time.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
This really it indicates and illustrates my weather report.
Yeah. So you might as well jump right into it right now.
You want to know my weather report?
What's the weather report for you?
Yo, I'm so tired. I feel like my energy's really low today. My energy's low.
You've represented that this morning.
Yeah, my energy's really low.
I'm pretty sure you had a long night again.
I got about 2 hours. I got a good solid 2-hour nap in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so after we do all of this, I'm gonna take me a nice long nap.
I just noticed something though. I said it's like a workout fit.
This is a workout. This is workout.
You ain't got your arms out or nothing.
This is athletic.
You got the blue jean jacket.
I mean, this is just to add.
Would you wear that at the gym?
On the way there.
Some people.
I will wear on the way to the gym, depending upon the climate. But you interrupted my weather report.
Oh, my bad.
So my energy's kind of low today so far, but hell of a ride always kind of wakes me up. So okay. I'm excited to be here. I think my mood, though, my energy's low. My mood, if I were to use the weather to represent my mood, I would say it is. This is the scenario I have in my head. I have like a freeway with construction and someone is like...
What? Wait, what that got to do with weather?
Wait. I'm setting the scene. It's like a freeway and there's construction and detours and they're out there like, I don't know what the...
Like the jackhammer?
Yeah, like, you know, because I kind of got a headache.
Okay.
And the weather is like cold. It's frigid outside. It's like 23 degrees.
Midwest style.
Yeah, Midwest style. And it's not because I'm cold in my heart, because my heart is always warm. It's the fact that I hate the cold.
Look.
No, I do not like cold weather, and I just feel uncomfortable in my body. Like, have you ever felt cold, like from the inside out, like you just can't get comfortable?
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel a little uneasy. I feel uneasy.
Okay, I got you.
Know?
I can.
Maybe it's because of the sleep deprivation and all of the things, but that's my weather report. It was quite elaborate. There were a lot of variables.
That was a lot. You got construction. You got
That's nothing to do with
ghost. You got the highway. You got the jackhammer.
Right.
I mean, but what it is. You're painting your visual. Yeah. You're painting your visual. I got you.
Or a metaphor? I always mix those up.
Visual, metaphor, analogy.
What's your weather report?
We throw it all in there. My weather report, little cloudy.
Mm-hmm. You stay in the clouds.
Listen, been in the clouds for a while now. Been in the clouds for a while.
Season.
Hey, but at the same time,
that's okay. Life be like that.
Yeah, but think about it. Like, let me give you one of yours. You know when you're on the runway getting ready to take off,
okay.
and you go up into the sky and it's cloudy, and you go up and up and up and up and up, and then you break the clouds and it's sunny.
Ooh.
I'm just waiting.
You're ascending.
I'm waiting for that.
And it's something better.
I'm waiting for You're ascending into something better. But yes, I'm waiting to see that sun today because I can see it peeking through.
Oh, I love that. Wonderful.
Yeah. That was so fake.
We're so far away. I'm in the traffic, on the freeway, in the cold,
I'm in the sky. I'm in the sky. You right. You see, well, hey, we got to get it together. We got to
pick me up.
We got to do something. I ain't even buy you no ticket, and I'm in first class. You down there in the Uber.
Pick me up. Pick me up. Oh my Lord.
All right, no, that's cool. So we got the weather report. I know you're a little bit tired. I mean, you were tired last night before I went to sleep, but we're here.
Yeah.
And we're going to rock and roll.
No, this is good. This is good for me.
Yeah, so what's top of mind?
Oh, my goodness. So many things. Okay, so one of the things when I'm up with Gam, when I do my night shift, usually what I try to do is squeeze in a nap beforehand because it's better to just stay up throughout the night than take a nap like I did last night, because then you'd be all groggy, right? So what am I doing in the middle of the night? Usually I'm like doing my yoga or stretching, or I'm on social media like a lot of people, or I'm watching all the shows, okay? Or I'm listening to audiobooks, or I'm on my computer doing work, but all the shows.
Okay.
So top of mind,
so what you been watching?
The shows. Oh my goodness. Everybody's talking about Love is Blind, which I'm not going to talk about it because you're not caught up. I don't want to do any spoilers for you.
At the end of the day, that's not one of the shows you can...
I got so much commentary, I won't even get into it. But
I watched the first couple episodes.
Do you want me to spoil it for you? All of a sudden, I'm awake.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, this is what happens when you start gossiping.
Basically. No, but do you want me to spoil it for you? Okay, I won't spoil it. Okay. Top of mind is just like life lessons, insights, enlightening thoughts as it relates to some of these shows. Okay. My critique of some of these shows.
Talk to us.
So I'm gonna tell you the shows. Mm-hmm. Love is Blind, which everyone is talking about.
But you gotta tell us your enlightening.
Okay, I'll tell you really quick.
Wait. What is it? You gotta tell us your enlightening and your insights, I guess.
My insights?
Yeah.
Okay, these are therapeutically derived insights. Okay. This is the part of me that is Dr. Brandi.
Okay.
So, first of all, people need to get off my homeboy Clay's back. They need to leave him alone and stop going in on him like that. They really need to stop going in on him like that.
Who is Clay?
Okay. So Clay, well, you're going to have to watch it.
Well, which one? I've watched 2-3 episodes.
The black dude.
Oh, the one who was talking about like his ego. And
Clay all day?
I didn't see that part, but he liked the visual of women. That one?
Playboyish, yeah.
Okay. No. Well, he was saying he wants to know how a woman looks. That matters to him. That's right.
Yeah. You at that part? And she was like, I'm not telling you?
I'm a little bit further, but yeah. Okay, I know who that is. You're making good progress. I know who that is.
You're making good progress. But anyway, I loved their dynamic, and I think what we watched play out was a brewing relationship where a man came into, he was confronting himself in real time. And what I respect about Clay is that the whole time he was super duper genuine. He was genuine with the shenanigans and the flirting and the charm. I mean, that's his personality and his persona. But he was also genuine with the struggle. Like he was having internal warfare and psychological conflict with himself. It played out in real time. He bit off more than he could chew. He wanted to see and have an experience, and then he got there and realized, oh shit, what did I get myself into? I don't know if I'm ready for this. And there was a casualty, and that was the heart of a person. Man. So he hurt AD, and that's not cool. But at the end of the day, it would have hurt her more had he been disingenuous and married the girl. See, spoiler alert. So now you know.
How do you say I'm not gonna spoil it? And in the midst of conversation,
you didn't care. You said you don't watch it like that.
And then you said I'm not gonna spoil it. So my expectation was you're not gonna say nothing about it. But go ahead. But I'm just telling you what you said.
You wanted to know my enlightenment.
Even if
okay,
the last thing you said was I will not spoil it. And what do? You go spoil it.
Am I the only one that's confused here? I thought I was given permission to
Thank
you. I thought I was given permission to keep cheering.
No. I said this is what I said.
Thank you.
But the last thing you said was I'm not gonna spoil it. So in my head, okay she's not gonna spoil it.
Okay, let's pause. Let's regroup. I'm going to stop with my enlightenment because it will require me to talk more fully. With that said, like I said, and it sounds like the public agrees, I thought I was given permission to keep talking about it when you said what you said.
But then you say you're not going to do it. So in my head, I was like, okay, she's not going to say it.
Okay,
cool.
Joe. So we have cyclical,
I'm crazy.
We have cyclical struggles here, y'all.
I'm crazy.
You may notice we have very cyclical struggles. They're the same struggle over and over.
All I'm asking. No, let me just ask a question. Wait, let me ask a question because I think this is important. Because maybe I can have an enlightened moment, right? All I said was, cool, it's all good. It's all good. And then you said, I'm not gonna share. So what should I think? Am I being too literal to think that you're not gonna spoil it? This is an honest question. Am I missing something? Am I too literal?
I think you're just missing yourself in it. I think you're missing the contribution you made to the confusion of the dynamic of the conversation. I think you're missing that part. The nature of the conversation we were having was kind of insinuating that I was given permission to keep talking about it. So, but let's not do that.
No. I think this is important because this is part of some of the struggles that we have. Communication sometimes, right? Yeah. And so I'm not going to skip over it. So I think that help me understand.
I can't.
No.
You gotta,
no. Wait, you still, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Help me understand. Like, if you're like, Joe, you good. Talk about that. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to talk about that. But then I talk about it. Is that not, like, would you not think I'm not going to talk about it if I tell you in the moment, like, oh, I'm not going to spoil it for you? Would you feel like
I think that's my point, is that I think the part that you're missing is your contribution to the confusion.
No, I'm clear
because
on that.
if I say something that's kind of like, I don't really watch it anyway, it's cool, whatever. That is insinuating that it's fine with me.
Okay. And then
so then I proceed to tell the story.
No. And then you say what after that?
I honestly don't recall, Joe. It's starting to get confusing.
No.
I think what could help us.
Wait. Let's go step by step. I know, but let's go step by step. I said, it's all good. Go ahead, talk about it. And then you said the next part was like, I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna say nothing. Then the next part was, I'm gonna give you my insights. And you talk about it. Then you throw in the. But
my insights are connected to the show, like to what I saw in the show. Like, it's hard to say the insights outside of its relationship to the context of the show. And I don't even know if I was thinking in that literal of a way. I can't recall step by step exactly how this played out. I'm just telling you how I was reacting to what you said. And so I think what might be helpful, if you really want to feel enlightened, myself included, is when we watch it back, to watch it back and watch both me and yourself. And I'll watch me and I'll watch you, and then you'll see where the confusion came from.
I can understand you're saying because I said I don't care, it's kind of like free range.
Right? I could talk about it. Yeah. Even after you say I won't talk about it. That's all I'm asking. What does that mean? I don't know.
No. I'm trying to figure out how I should receive it. That's it. This is an honest question. Like, how should I receive if you say I'm not going to do it?
I do not know. I don't know the answer to that. I can't dictate how you receive it. I'm telling you how I'm receiving you.
Okay.
I don't know. What I will say, though, because we're still on top of mind, is so I will pause on my enlightenment in my critique of Love is Blind. I might have a critique for Hell of a Ride as well. But Love is Blind. But the other shows that I've had a lot of reactions to, people really need to watch Love on a Spectrum. Let me tell you, that show is so freaking brilliant. I can't tell if it's on the verge of exploitation or not. I'm not sure, because I am not someone that's I'm not neurodivergent. I'm not on the autistic spectrum. And I really would love to be more respectful of people. So I do think there's a little bit of an exploitative nature of that show. But most reality TV is exploitative. But that show is brilliant.
But hold on.
And the people are just brilliant. Like, we could learn so much about dating by watching this show. It's so clear in so many ways. But you haven't watched that either. So.
No. I watched the first season. The first season. But I want to go back to your exploitation, right? It's interesting because I think because a lot of us don't have a lot of experience being around the day-to-day of people who are on the spectrum of autism, it probably feels like, dang, should we be in the inside, you know what I mean? Because to watch them on a day-to-day, it is kind of like, at least when I watched it, I was like, this is pretty cool, and I never knew how they move.
Well, I think it can be, again, I keep talking about enlightenment. It's like I'm ignorant to certain experiences, like lived experiences, and even if a person is like well read on something or has training on something, you can never know what it's like to be in another person's shoes. Period. So I felt like, and then the thing is, it is entertainment in a way. So that's the other part that feels a little interesting. Is like you're watching people's experiences and you're getting entertainment out of it. But we do that with all of reality.
For sure.
TV. So, like, why would it be any different for anybody else?
And I remember when I went to, I did this in high school and in college. I went to a couple of schools where they had you know, and back then it was students with disabilities, whether it's you know, physical disabilities or it's, you know, neuro, whatever it might be, right? But I remember my experience. First thing first, you end up scrapping this idea that they're so different than, you know, quote unquote, people who don't have, people with abilities, right? You see these, right? But the first thing that happened when I went in there, the girl in the wheelchair rolled past me like, I was like, oh, they flirting. They was flirting, right?
She was trying to pick you up.
She was, right? But it was just interesting to be there and have that experience with them because they do everything we do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't know that, and they have this judgment just because, you know, some of the disabilities that they may have compared to us. Sometimes they have abilities that we don't have.
Well,
right?
Yeah, and the reality of the situation that I'm coming to discover is that everybody has a vulnerability in some fashion.
Yeah.
So, and it may not be a visible one. For sure. You know, you know. I think, who are we talking about now? Like, it's kind of like how over the years we've started to really like question the concept of normalcy. Like there is really it's kind of like what's considered normal because there's such a range of lived experiences and values and beliefs and like all of that. So, yeah. But anyway, okay, so that show, and then everybody's got to say something about Risa Tessa. Oh. Okay.
I didn't watch that.
I've got a lot of commentary on that too, but I can't talk about none of it because my husband is not up to speed.
Wait a minute. First, okay, now in this one, let me be very clear.
I'm not going down that road with you. Let me
be very clear on this. Let me be very clear.
It's not worth it to me.
No, for real. This is real talk. This one right here, I have no interest in watching. I know the gist of the story. Like so whatever you want to share.
I felt just as clear when I was talking. I'm not going there.
I'm telling you that now. This is different.
Entrapment.
No, for real. Like I have zero. I'm not going back to watch 2-3 hours of that. I know what it was, and it is what it is. So what do you have to share? Open, free, open. And this isn't me giving.
I feel very anxious.
No, because what people do is, you need permission. I'm not giving you permission. I'm just saying, let me be very clear. After our earlier conversation, I absolutely do not care what you share about this.
Well, I'm still not going to do it. I'm just going to say, all I'm going to say.
Why won't you do it now?
This is all I'm going to say. Well, in part because top of mind is getting long. This is all I'm going to say is that one of the things that I thought a lot about as a result of, and shout out to Risa Tessa too. Like people are so quick. There's so much judgment, like so much freaking judgment.
Oh, I feel judged right now in this moment. But go ahead.
I'm a part of it. Like, but there's so much judgment all around us and within us. I have judgments too. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not pretending to be like,
are you
Mother
judging
Teresa.
me right now based off?
Yeah, actually, I am.
I feel it. I feel it.
And it's not an overly critical judgment, but yes, I am actually.
Okay.
So like, I feel like, we all do that. Like we do that to orient ourselves and create safety in our world. So I'm judging the situation. I don't think it's a good idea. So, but
based off your judgment of me.
But
don't try to keep moving.
I think one of the things that people always talk about, and that has come up a lot with Risa Tessa, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, is red flags. And I'm like, and it really bothers me sometimes because sometimes there's like yellow flags and orange flags, and the flags are influenced by our own history, our own traumas, and our own vulnerabilities. So it's like, on one level, the world is saying, don't be naive, be smart, prevent any wrongdoing to yourself, self-preservation, make the right choice, as if we always know what the right choice is. And then the other side of the world is saying, don't be judgmental, be kind, give grace, be compassionate. When you're in companionship and you're in a relationship with someone, you accumulate experiences with them. So it might not be a red flag until you have accumulated information over time. And you're like, oh, shoot, this is like becoming a pattern. Or like sometimes you just don't know until you know. You know, sometimes you don't know until you know. Yeah. A person not calling you back at, 10 o'clock at night isn't necessarily a red flag. It could be a circumstance. It could be an issue. You give grace. But then, 6 months later, you realize the guy never called you back at 10 o'clock at night because he was living and had a whole nother family. And you're like, I missed the red flag. You didn't miss anything. You discovered along the way that there was something awry as a result of a collection of experiences. So if there is a red flag for Ressa Tessa, which she actually named herself, see, now I'm telling the information, which I was told was okay, just making sure, is that
you see my face.
She said, I'm just making sure.
You see my face.
She said.
You see my face.
What's that mean?
I'm just saying.
She said that, what did she say? She said herself, she owned it herself. She said one of the things that made her vulnerable was a desperation for love. She didn't want to be lonely. She really, really wanted to be married. Mm-hmm. When was it going to be her turn? So if anything, those are the red flags.
So
the red flags are intrapersonal.
Right.
Those were the red flags. It made her vulnerable and susceptible to wanting to be with a man and move in with a man after 2 weeks. That's what made her it wasn't necessarily a red flag from him necessarily, other than maybe his own desperation and eagerness. It was hers that was kind of like, this seems like a good idea, So, but then again, we always talk about how conflicting context could be, where it's like, this was COVID too. Mm-hmm. I don't want to quarantine alone. Who wasn't vulnerable during COVID? Who wasn't making choices, So I don't know. I just think all of these shows and like popular social media and culture just makes you really think. And I hope that's what happens with this podcast, that when people watch, they're not just super critical, but it kind of makes them think.
Yeah.
How they show up in the world,
Yeah.
Oh, shut up. Who you talking? No, I'm messing with you. Look, I'm in the gym by myself. Listen, I know some of y'all have some goals. Some of you all feel like you've been stuck. Some of y'all feel like you're ready to go to your next level. And if you're ready to do that, make sure you go to purposeoverdreams.com. I have a free resource for you, and you'll gain access to my masterclass. Take care.
There's two things that come to mind as you're talking. And I think the first thing is how many of us are so busy looking for red flags that we don't even notice the green ones.
Oh, yeah, say more. What do you mean?
And so what I mean by that is we're so busy. You can have a good person, right? You've met somebody, they're cool, right? There's some compatibility there, all of that. And you're so focused on, something has to be wrong, something has to be wrong, something has to be wrong. You're looking for any and everything that can be a yellow or a red flag for you to run away, right? Which once again has to do with our individual selves.
Yeah, like a wound.
Yeah,
like a wound is super hyper vigilant, so it's almost like you're looking for the problem.
Right. And so, what's also interesting to me is, as you talk about like these shows, I'm very familiar with, these reality shows. Currently, my family is on a show right now. And it's interesting to also see how some people take entertainment as a form of just like, entertainment and ha ha he he. But other people in real life is like, I don't play them games. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not ha ha he he to me. That's not fun, right? And if you understand entertainment, television, especially reality TV, the way that it is created, if you don't understand that, like some people will be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. I knew that was, and they don't really know the true story.
Are you kind of saying that they're not understanding like the gravity of the situation?
Well, sometimes they don't understand they don't know like how reality TV is created.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
But then they also don't understand sometimes situations are real and it's not TV games, ha ha he he. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what do you think about this statement? I think, again, because we're, you more than me, but we're pretty familiar with the reality TV world.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about this perspective. I think that what's happening on reality TV is a reflection of what's real.
Okay.
But usually it's like a fabrication, like a fabric, like a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a magnification.
Yeah.
Like they blow it up. There's
another word I'm looking for, but yeah. They blow it up and orchestrate. I feel like they take what's true and orchestrate the way they want it to be expressed or play out.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I could agree with that.
Which is crazy making.
Right, but I think
when you're in it, I think.
Yes, but I think what also can happen is, you know, when you see stuff like spill out into like the real world, right? From like social media or television, like sometimes it's like it's real.
Yeah, it's crazy
and it can get real. You know what I mean? And so like as you talk about all these shows and the different insights that you have, I think it's just important for people to understand, like, you know, how reality TV is created, but also, as you said, it can be a magnification of what's actually going on in folks' lives. And sometimes you don't play with people. You don't, you know, because some people will take something as a joke, and other people that's very serious for them.
Right.
You know, so I don't know how we got there, but we got there.
Yeah, a whole lot of top of mind. As influenced or informed by popular culture, like television. I mean, need we forget there is an election going on too. Like, can we talk about like something real? I mean, real, like that's as real as it gets, and that's why we're all watching. That's why we're all watching TV, because we just don't want to deal with jacked up.
I don't even. You know,
my gosh!
I love when Q back in the day in the movie Higher Learning, he said, you know, 50% is lies and 50% is BS. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, what side do you want to rock? So how do you stay in the middle? You know what I mean?
Scary.
Yeah,
right now. But should we do an episode on politics?
I don't know. I'm not well versed in understanding a whole lot about politics like that. You know what I'm saying? But we can do it from like a perspective of what we know.
Well, I mean, we're not here proclaiming to be experts in all things. Yeah. We're just exposing
our opinions.
We're exposing expression as a process, not even just our opinions, you know, like, so I don't know, like families and politics and how that shows up in politics and how that impacts the family and all that. Maybe that could be a good episode, season 3.
We'll make that happen.
But anywho, that was my top of mind.
That was your top of mind. You took 30 minutes.
Well, because you wanted to argue with me because you were unclear.
Well, top of mind for me, once again, I'm not going to lie. This top of mind is communication.
Oh, my gosh. It's just communication. We be struggling sometimes, y'all.
But I wonder how many people will see this clip and be like, I can see both sides, or I can understand this, or I can, because to me, it's just communication.
Do you think you're good at it?
I think I have work to do. Do you think you're good at it? Because I think sometimes you think you're better than you are.
You think?
Oh, no doubt. You think you're better than what you are.
Oh, wow.
In terms of communication.
Well, clearly I do, because that surprised me. I was like, no, I think I'm all right. I mean, I don't think I'm great. I can see how I have struggles. And you know what's interesting? I think I struggle most in my most intimate relationships.
Which I think most of us do.
Yeah, in professional spaces and settings, I'm pretty clear-headed, and I'm pretty. I've become a lot more comfortable with confrontation in those spaces. I feel really competent in a lot of those spaces, so I'm more clear and all that. But in a more personal space, it gets kind of confusing more easily. It's more confusing. It gets cloudy. you know? And then, you know, because again, I do want to be a person that holds grace and care and consideration. I think sometimes, and I have kind of a bit of a codependent personality. I think sometimes I get really entangled in like other people's things, like perspective or thoughts or feelings. And then I kind of abandon my own, and then I'm really confused. And then I start second guessing myself sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that's probably true.
Probably?
Mm-hmm. I can acknowledge that.
But I mean, it's the same way. Like, I can see how, like, if I'm going back, and this is because it's top of mind, like it just happened. So I'm going back to the conversation, and yes, it is confusing. Like, I can see that. I can see that on that side, and on another side, I can see like step by step by step. Like, I said this, you said this, and then, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I don't want to sit in like, see, I'm getting tired of, because you always talk about it as like a cyclical type of communication style, right? Which can be frustrating when, like, for me, I'm really trying to be like, hold on. Let me try to figure this out in the moment. Yeah. Right? But cool. So that's one thing. That's top of mind, right? Communication style. And I think a lot of people, like you said, they struggle with it in their most intimate relationships. You know what I'm saying? And then they struggle with it with themselves.
No, that's true. That's real talk right there. That's very true.
There's a lot of self-talk, and there's a lot of internal dialogue that goes on that keeps people exactly where they don't want to be.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? And, you know, part of the issue with that is, from my experience and what I believe, is that oftentimes, one, you talk about a lot, the trauma that one's been through, right? The wounds that they have, but also I think the energy that they allow in their space. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get around people who are confident, when you get around people who move a certain way, that energy can't do anything but seep into you. And then your body, depending on how you are, you can get very uncomfortable because you're not used to that.
Or feel threatened by it.
You could be threatened.
You know, sometimes
you
people
might
feel
run away.
Intimidated and threatened by it, yeah.
But hopefully you soak it in, especially if you want better for yourself. You soak that energy in and you say, man, how can I get there?
You know what I think? I think what you're describing really reveals people's self-concept in a way. Like, it kind of reveals where they hold maybe shame or insecurity. It kind of reveals it, because you're making me think of the difference between someone who's in the presence of somebody like what you're describing and feels inspired or like curious, like, oh, how did you do that? Or tell me more, versus the person that feels like kind of like, who they think they are.
Yeah, they think they did.
You know, that. Yeah. Or but also it could also be, you know, we have associations. Like, we call everything a trauma trigger, but we have associations. So the person could also represent someone that has harmed me. Or that has belittled me, or that has made me feel away. So I'm not even really reacting to them. I'm reacting to my history.
You reminded me, true, but you reminded me of a comedian was talking about an individual. I think he was like, black folks, we don't even want to loan money to the person that looked like the person that owe us money. Man, I was cracking up.
He don't look like he gonna pay that back. Right. He don't look like he gonna pay that back. Right? Like, what do you mean? Like, how do you know he ain't gonna pay that back?
Oh, but yeah, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I'm gonna give you,
I know. We've even had, like, real talk. We've had that conversation when we're watching TV. Oh, I know what she about to do. I know what she coming with.
But sometimes we be spot on.
Well, yeah, because we make associations. Yeah. So sometimes they're skewed, sometimes they're off, and sometimes they're accurate. And the sometimes is the problem. Like, you never know. Especially
like some of them dating shows, and I'll be like, this is what she about to do. She gonna do this. And I was like, bingo, got it.
Yeah, you'd be so proud. You pegged her.
Because I did. The same way you'd be like, he gonna blah, 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 blah. And then it'd be like, I told you. You hit me with the, you know. But
I said what I said.
But no, okay, let me give you my other top of mind real quick so we can move forward. But my other top of mind was a very, and there's two of them. But the first, well, I'm just gonna stick with one. It was a very interesting video on social media about a husband and wife. Mm-hmm. And the husband had some, I think it was some molestation when he was younger. Mm-hmm. Something happened to him. But he got married. They had children. And it wasn't until after the fact that he shared that he had experiences with same sex, right? Mm-hmm. And that he was bisexual. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the coach, I forgot her name, but she was like, do you not think that was an important part of the story that should have been shared before you got into a deep relationship with your wife? And I was like, dang. So that was top of mind. Like, how do you share with a person that you're potentially going to date or be with, or you don't know, but how do you share stuff like that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, so you're saying, but even this kind of speaks to what we're talking about, because it's like the question itself even like illustrates this kind of internal reconciliation.
Yeah.
Because like, what are the things that we are and aren't sharing? Like, is it everything? Is it anything? Is it all things? Are there some things that are like you're expected to share, where other things it's okay that you don't because it's not that big of a deal? Like, how are we assessing what is, and I think this is varies from person to person. How do we assess what is pivotal to share based upon, like, okay, we could say the same thing for like credit score or like student loans, or, you know, even when we talk about, since we're talking about like identity and sexuality and things of that nature, okay, if you're bisexual or pansexual or whatever your sexual orientation is, or even the transgendered experience, mm-hmm. like, you know, people sharing with the partner that they've met once they've transitioned, that they were born, I'm trying to get the terms right. Their sex at birth was blah, 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 blah. Like,
their assigned gender at birth.
Their assigned gender. Yeah. STDs.
Yeah.
You know, things like that, especially when 75 or 80% of us are out here walking with some form of STD anyway.
Right.
Like, so how do you determine this? So,
okay. Which I think is
your body count.
Right, but I think it's the question, well, the way that I think about it is, if there's something that I believe you deserve choice, right? So right. If I felt like there's something that I struggle with, and it could possibly be major for somebody else who I want in my life, we have to share it. We have to share. For example, let me give you an example. In that particular case of him being bisexual, mm-hmm. And she didn't find out till after they had kids. They were married for some time. She should have the choice if she wants to deal with a man that's like that.
Okay, that identifies
it, right. She shouldn't get all the way deep into the relationship and then find out some news like, I did not know, because that impacts her ability to choose what she wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I agree with that. But I think that's the case with a lot of things. Like, I also am inheriting your debt. Like, I also need to know what your debt situation is. Yeah. I also need to know, you know, if you got baby mamas or some, you know, quote
so
unquote.
These are some major, kids, so some of these are maybe the conversation early on is like, what are some major topics that you think couples should talk about?
I'm going to tell you one of them. And I'm not even being funny. I'm not being petty either. I'm being silly.
So you know it's coming at me. Go ahead.
I'm not even being
Go ahead.
I wish I would have asked if you liked the television on or not. I didn't even think to ask that. I didn't even think to ask if you need the television on at night.
But that's not but for me, something like that, yes, that wouldn't be a deal breaker for me.
It's not a deal breaker, but it definitely would have helped me to orient myself a little differently. I think, like, and people might think this is silly and trivial and funny, but I think we're talking about, I get what you're describing. I think you're talking about the capacity to choose, you know, who I want to, like, co-create with, and like how their history or their behaviors or their beliefs or their values are going to impact my livelihood and my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, if I will be honest with you, and I don't know if you'll really believe this or not, I think that in this particular era of my life, the tension, the comfortability and the tension on a day-to-day basis is far more directly connected to whether or not you like the TV on at night than it is if you are bisexual but you've elected to be in a relationship with me as a woman. Like if you're not cheating or you're not like being like out in the streets like smashing people. Like if your identity is bisexual, but you have, and I'm not bisexual, so I could really be misspeaking on what this lived experience is.
Okay.
But if my identity is bisexual, but I've met someone, I love them, I've decided, or even pansexual, and I've decided this is going to be my person, and I believe in monogamy.
Okay.
So and we're good. So this is not anything that's like a palpable interruption in my daily life. It impacts me less than some of the other like day-to-day choices. I'm
kind of lost with what you're saying. Help me understand, just so I'm clear, because
I think the point I'm trying to make is that there's so many different things, and like everybody's, let me see if I can make it more clear. Like there's so many different things. Like it's almost like you're kind of insinuating, tell me if this feels true, that like there are certain things you have to say, you should tell. Whereas other things, maybe you just don't have to. And I'm saying anything that's going to impact the quality of life for the partner should probably be a conversation.
I think I would agree with
okay.
that. I would agree with that. And I think what I was saying before was like, yes, there are certain things that need to be said, right? But I agree with what you just said in terms of like anything we should be talking.
That's going to impact my livelihood because the times are changing too. Like some people really don't care like that.
Yeah, but it's not about some people. It's about giving the person that you're going to be with the opportunity to say, you know what, that's not something that I can deal with. Nothing against you. Do your thing,
right.
But I can't rock with that. But to share that after the fact, I think was not the best move, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah,
well, it was a good move to keep this woman that he really liked, right? It was a good move in those terms, but overall, that wasn't cool, because even if you liked her and she liked you and you shared that information, the fear probably for him was, we might not be together.
Well, see, because that's the thing too. Like it really illuminates, like, again, vulnerabilities for people. Like,
yeah,
it does amplify that. Like it does kind of speak to the culture around like acceptance and fear of like judgment, or like, you know, it does speak to that.
That's like when I've heard. I've heard some folks in the trans community say they feel like they don't need to share that they're trans. And to me, I'm like, yo, yes, you do. Like that could be life or death situation, right? Because even though the world is a lot more open than it was before, right? It's important if somebody likes you for who you are, right? Mm-hmm. Love that. We connected. You look nice, you're cool, we have great conversation, blah, 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 blah. But then I find out something that you did not tell me, which means I don't like you for who you are. I like you for who you acted like you were. Right? So it's a lie. A part of you is a lie.
You see, now the trans community would disagree with that.
They would say,
this is who I really am.
Well, what I'm saying is, you have to tell that full story. I'm not saying that they're not who they say they are. The person might feel like, but that I don't know the real you. And who I thought I was connected with, that's not real. You know what I'm saying? So it's deep. It's deep.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in the sense that, like, I know on the most intimate level, I know that deception is always going to be problematic, like no matter what. I also know that most of the time the reason people are deceptive is because they're afraid.
Okay.
And because they're afraid of rejection or abandonment or judgment or harm. And so even when you say in this particular scenario that it's like, you know, that could be a life or death situation. It could be a life or death situation on either end of the coin. Like, what a vulnerable place to be.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I could either get, you know, rejected and abandoned and betrayed or beat or killed, because that is happening to trans people.
For sure.
No matter what I do, you know, whether I, you know, so I think, and again, I still agree, like, we got to be forthcoming and just take that risk. It's too consequential not to, but I do understand and empathize why some things are harder to share than others, because it's a reflection of our culture.
I got that.
You know?
I got that.
So that was a big top of mind for you.
Yes, and so can I end with one question for you?
Sure.
If you met somebody who you liked and they didn't share that they were bi, or they didn't share that they were trans, what would that feel like for you?
That would be hard for me. Like, I agree. Yeah. I'm just kind of speaking to, like, why we're fixated on this thing when there's so many things that people won't share. But I would agree. I would feel, there's a part of me that would just, I think I would just feel uncomfortable. I think I would feel uneasy. I think I would feel very, like, I would be contending with a lot of things. And some of those things wouldn't even be the person. Some of those things would be just me, like my upbringing, my ideology, my belief system. I'm just very honest about that. I think that would be hard for me.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I have a good friend of mine that's transitioning. And the cool thing about it is I could call them and just be like, wait, tell me tell me about, right? Because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But what I also can appreciate is, at the same time, there are times where I do have, like, internal conflict, like, wait a minute. But then I have to kind of be introspective and be like, okay, what's that about? Like, where is that coming from? But I could also just honestly say, like, that person, they've given me some amazing, dope advice, you know, with stuff that I've been through. And I think what's even cooler is when somebody's going through something like that is, you know, at least I assume very life-changing for that individual, to be so open and share what they're willing to share with me, you know. So shout out to, you know who I'm talking to, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to them, Dr. Sage. But anyways, let's keep this thing moving. Let's get into what we're going to talk about, because we could be there.
What was your other top of mind?
Well, my other top of mind was just, like, the video we were talking about where the guy was on the phone with his boys in the car. Oh, yeah. And his wife was sitting next to him, like, I ain't saying nothing. And he was telling his wife everything. I'm like, yo, no, that ain't it. There's certain things that are sacred for you and your boys, the same way certain things are sacred for you and your girls, that, you know. So, okay, but let's get into it. Okay. I agree. Like, I saw the video. It was funny. It was hilarious. And it was cool to me because their dynamic was like, they were like, yeah, that was so cute, you know. But and I really liked that. Like, that was so cute. And yet we're not like that. Like, so, and you know, contrary to popular belief, every couple's not like that, where, like, I know that, like, one of the things I respect about you, that I really like about you, is that your friends, your siblings, like, people around you can confide in you, and you don't. You're not a chatty patty. It ain't your business. You really don't. Yeah. You might allude to something just so that I'm aware that you're supporting someone or you're connected. Like, you're not, like, you don't, like, you know what I'm saying? You're not deceitful in that way, but you're not gonna be giving me all the details and telling me the play-by-play and what this person said and that person said and this. You'll give me, like, a general such and such is kind of going through something. Yeah. You know, so, but, you know.
but it's not my story to tell or whatever. That's kind of what you say. And I think I find that to be respectful. I don't expect you to be telling. If they wanted me to know, they would have told me. And we've even had situations where, because there's like a mutual relationship or something, you will even, I remember a time where you would even be like, I don't know if you asked or if the person said it was cool for me to be included. So it's like, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, there are times where that's happened.
Right, where it's like, you know, I'm going to tell B, you know. Or
well, and sometimes I don't even have to say that, but I think because they know what you do, sometimes they're like, if I share with you, they'll get some better feedback. Like, oh, she's a psychologist.
So they using me. They
might be. No, but also like.
Nah, I feel differently now.
Hey, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna need y'all to cash out a couple dollars.
But I think, that goes to show, like, to me, if you know, there's a level of respect that they have. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But for me, like, that's one thing. I'm not doing. I'm not taking somebody's info. I don't care how close I am. If somebody don't want nobody to know, that's not me. That's not for me to tell.
Right.
I don't do that. I don't do that. So yes, not a chatty patty over here. I don't do all that. Now you, on the other hand.
What about? Don't put that out there.
I'm just kidding.
Don't put that out there.
I'm just kidding.
Then my people gonna be really thinking.
I'm lying. Listen, you know I'm joking.
Look in the camera.
But listen. Dr. Brandi is not a chatty patty.
I do kind of like you do.
But one of the things that we're able to do, because we both come from the counseling field, is, you know, sometimes it's just like not a consultation, but like, man, this. What do you think about? You know what I mean? It's kind of like a vignette when you're in school. What
do you think about a situation like this?
Yeah. So, but no, she's not a chatty patty.
Thank you.
Which camera? She's not a chatty patty.
And
all right, she's very professional, right? However, when it comes to me and her dynamic, woo, she need to learn how to communicate better with me. Hold on. The same way I need to learn how to communicate better with her. There we go. See, look, you thought it was just you.
Oh,
you thought
Lord,
it was just
Jesus,
you.
Take the wheel.
I'm just saying. Was that a lie?
Help this man.
Was that a lie?
Yeah. Huh?
Listen.
Hashtag active.
You need active listening. You need active speaking. You need active looking.
I'm gonna tell you what I really need. I need Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna need Jesus to show up.
I'm wearing the one and only right now. So you know, for this situation. Anyways.
Go ahead and say what it means.
It's just Yahweh. If you know, you know. I don't
have to explain it?
If you know, you know.
Oh, well, shoot. Okay, secret society.
Ain't no secret society here, you know.
I'm just saying some people don't know. We're so dumb. Yeah. Man, lots of stuff on our mind lately.
It's a lot. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you something else that was on.
This episode gonna be called Top of Mind. I'm telling you. I mean, maybe we should just stay here and.
Well, no, we should, because even the money is top of mind. But
okay.
So So no wonder.
Well, we here now. Let's just flow. We top of mind.
There's so many. Well, yeah.
No, let's stay here.
I agree. Okay. But I also want to just I want to just do another PSA. All of these things we're referencing are not. It's really null and void if it's only for the purpose of your entertainment and your numbing.
Yeah.
Like, if all of these things, because we're literally talking about our reactions to social media posts and Instagram
reality
and relatively
TV.
Trivial things. Yeah. And it's like, it's not lost on me that these are the ways that people numb themselves, that they escape real topics, like that they don't address real things because we are so infatuated with all of these other things that are considered entertainment or edutainment, like education, entertainment. Yeah. But if your engagement in these things is only for the purpose of entertainment, you are literally wasting your life.
Well, what do you think people do on social media for 16 hours a day?
Well, it's a waste. Well, I know, because sometimes I'm the person doing that. But what I'm saying is, like, but we have to try to be more intentional. It's not like, this is the world we live in. It's not like
Fiction Necklace.
It's not like Perfectly Imperfect. Okay.
No.
But it's not like we can just go off the grid.
Yeah.
I'm not endorsing that, but what I'm saying is, what is it for? So if you're watching something like Love is Blind or Ressa Tessa, you know, while you're judging her, where have you been vulnerable in your life? Mm-hmm. For like, what are you learning? What do they say? Hindsight is 20/20. When you look back on the patterns of your own behavior, you know, where did you make choices that made you excessively vulnerable? Like, instead of like, look at her story and then reflect on yourself, you know, or look at Love is Blind. And if you're really bothered by somebody, what is it about them that is really bothering me? Like, why is that bothering me so much? Like, what is that about? What is that saying about me? You know? Yeah,
I think when that's a great point. I know when I watch those shows, and particularly Clay, right? Mm-hmm. I remember, dang, it's crazy. In the moment, I was watching it last night, but in the moment when they were having the back and forth about him trying to figure out what she looks like, because the reality is, I was sitting there and I was just saying to myself, and this is just honesty, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't think she's she's not the best like looker, mm-hmm. but I was like, she has a beautiful body, mm-hmm. right? And she's not ugly at all. But I'm just saying, like, but then when he said that, I was like, dang, what do I be, you know, what's my first focus? I remember saying, like, dang, do I do that? Do I do what he do? Right? So in that moment, the fact that you're saying it, I remember thinking to myself, because I saw her eyes and she was hurt. Like, man, this wasn't about that. This was about like getting to know me, right? And I was like, dang. Like, you know, so the introspection and the ability to do self-inventory is critical. And I don't do it all the time, mm-hmm. but there are moments where I believe you can't help but to do it. And sometimes you want to ignore it because it don't feel good, mm-hmm. you know? And so that was like just an immediate moment, an immediate moment for me last night watching that, where I kept just looking like, because I think she's a cheerleader, mm-hmm. and like she's something. And so when they said that, when they were having that conversation, and then her eyes, and then he started to reflect, I couldn't do nothing but like, dang, what about me? What do I do this? Have I done this? Have I always done this? Do I look at people? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's nice that that's the experience you had while watching it, though, as opposed to just like,
oh, shut up. Who you talking? No, I'm messing with you. Look, I'm in the gym by myself. Listen, I know some of you all have some goals. Some of you all feel like you've been stuck. Some of y'all feel like you're ready to go to your next level. And if you're ready to do that, make sure you go to purposeoverdreams.com. I have a free resource for you, and you'll gain access to my masterclass. Take care.
You know, and I do not agree with this, but I'm just poking fun at the culture. Nothing butter, like da 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 da.
Well, she ain't ugly.
You know,
she's not ugly.
I'm just saying the commentary. Like, instead of engaging in the commentary from this like superficial place, you were like, yeah, yeah, girl, you need to see what he looks like, or you need to test drive this, or you need to da 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 da. Like, all that commentary. Yeah. It sounds like your engagement in the show was kind of like a mirror, like a reflection.
Well,
and you.
Yes, right? I mean, because think about it. Like, you have, I identify with him. That's a black male on a show like that. That's a black woman. Right. Right. And that's a very unique experience. Right. And so to sit there, one is like, man, can I do that? Right. Would I be able to? I wonder what I would do. Right. But then I think the other part was, and I have to be honest, like, I think because I take care of myself a lot, and I can respect, like, man, she has a nice body, right? Like, she like she works out, she dances or cheerleads, whatever she does, right? So it's like, dang, love that. But then it's also like the first thing oftentimes that I've been attracted to in my life is how you look, mm-hmm. right? Because that's what I see. So I'm looking at your face, right? And so and I think it's okay to be honest, like, I want somebody who I am physically attracted to. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. It does not mean I can't connect with somebody who's not physically attractive, but it probably means, being in full honesty, that I won't take it to that level that maybe they may desire if we connected another way, but I'm not physically attracted to you.
Yeah, like but that. I think being honest with yourself about something like that, I would expect you to not then go on a show like that. unless you are intentionally choosing to stretch yourself in your capacity.
And to me, an experience like that would stretch, and I would.
Yeah, but okay, maybe you would. But what I'm saying is, like, what I appreciated about that particular scene, and I had all kind of reactions in the moment, but now I'm a little more settled. I think that Clay's, I keep saying vulnerability, but Clay's vulnerability was magnified in that moment. It became risky for him. Yeah. He really liked her. And he is a man that, and he even talked about this, that kind of, like you said, was most familiar making connections based upon physical attraction.
Right.
And so he's now having a interpersonal connection with somebody, and now he is getting a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
And he's like, before I do that, I gotta make
what
sure,
you look like.
He's reacting to himself.
For sure.
And then what you saw in her was her reacting to herself, which is, I'm here so that somebody doesn't judge me based on that. And so when he tried to do that, when he slipped and defaulted into his vulnerability, it penetrated hers, which is like, wait, that's gonna matter?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm here to not. I don't want your connection to me be based on that. And what I appreciated about it, so they were both contending with themselves, and her response to him held him accountable. She stood 10 toes down on who she wants to be, how she wants to be treated, and how she wants to be loved. And she said, I can't, and you could see her struggling through it. She's like, I can't tell, I'm not gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a risk, because now it's like, dang, I like this guy, but now he might not be feeling me because I'm not going to tell him. And that's usually when we feel desperate.
Yeah.
So she honored herself, and it helped him be accountable. And at first he was kind of reactive to that. And he was also reactive when she expressed a connection with another man, because he ain't used to that.
Well, but he also said it was a connection to a man where he felt like wasn't on his level.
Ego, right? Yeah. Like ego and persona, and all of us have it. This is people want to go in on Clay like they don't have their
That's
own version.
That's why people go looking when they break up and they date somebody else.
They go see who they date next. Yeah.
Look how she ain't got no money. She ain't like, right. Oh, goodness gracious.
So he tried to show his ass, and he was trying to be reactive. But then what's so nice about Clay is he's insightful enough to where he's like, dang, no, I showed my ass. And then he kind of, and then he was accountable to him. Yeah. I really think,
So I think, for anybody that's watching us, I think one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves, and I'm going to take it to a superficial question first, right, is how important is the physical features of an individual that you're interested in, right? And then to go deeper, outside of the physical, how important is someone's ability to be vulnerable, right? Introspective, their ability to be caring, loving. How important is that versus, they look good, or they got money, or they got nice things, versus all that other internal stuff, right? So I don't know, because some people they be faking like, as long as they treat me well, and then they looking at them like, hey, you ugly, you know what I'm saying?
But you know what this makes me?
Am I lying though? Am I lying? This is what people will not say, and I'm just gonna say it because I know people that do that. They're like, it's amazing, such an amazing person, but I don't know if I can get with them because they're just not my type.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And that sucks, but that's the nature of the culture we live in.
I mean, I'm not going to discredit attraction. Like physical attraction and arousal and, sensuality and all that. And even like preference as it relates to attraction. I mean, these are normal things. Like we don't have to judge that in that way. I think the question I would ask in connection to your question, because they're great questions, is, and where does this come from? Or like, and why is this important to me in this way?
Yeah.
Like, why is that? What is this connected to? Where does this come from? Because I'll tell you, I
got a story if you want one about you, but go ahead.
I mean, you're welcome to share.
Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
I will say, I have dated. You don't really have a type either, as far as physically. You like women that kind of carry themselves. I mean, you don't have like a singular type of woman, right? As far as like physical attraction, there's a range of physical attraction for you. But they're all bad to you, right? So bad meaning good.
Dang, to me.
So, I can't assume for everybody.
I'm just talking crazy.
So, but I will say for me, I've dated all different kind of men. Short, tall, brown, light, white, like all across, and with varying degrees of physical attraction. It was really, for me, it was more about like connection. Do you treat me nice? And I think my greatest vulnerability is attention. Mm-hmm. I'm coming to learn that, because some of them really weren't the best, but they were attentive, or like adoration, almost like an ego stroke. Which,
as you say that, I think of like, that's a childlike factor.
What do you mean?
You know how like children want attention? Mm-hmm. Like, you know how our kids will come. And
Are you calling me a child?
No, what I'm saying is you could probably trace that back possibly to just like childhood or your childhood self.
Probably.
Know,
yeah, I'm sure it's attached to my inner child some kind of way.
But
we'll journal on that later after my nap.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying, like, that's interesting. Because now I'm thinking, what would be mine? What do you think mine would be?
I think yours is similar, actually. I think attention, and I think status. I think attention and status. I think that Joe having a bad one makes him even more bad.
Makes me bad. And for those of you who watching this and don't understand slang, bad is good. Right. All right? Okay? Bad is not bad. Like, bad is like she fine.
I can't have no,
she gorgeous. This is what I...
Rumpelstiltskin or whatever you would say on it.
But Rumpelstiltskin.
Is that like, I can't have no like...
But this is... And like, I do, I think over my time, like the serious relationships I've had, they've been beautiful women. Right. But I think the older that I've gotten and the things that I've been through, one of the things that I'm learning that I really desire is safety.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, I need to feel safe that I can share all my emotions. Yeah. I need to feel safe that I can talk about things that I'm uncomfortable about myself, right? I need to feel safe that you always gonna have my best interest at hand. I need to feel safe, right? And so safety has become one of these things where, when I look at social media and these videos and what people are talking about, they're always talking about, you need to do this, you need to be that, you need to look like this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, yo, if you really want to get a man, if you really want somebody, I'm telling you, men want safety.
Yeah.
Men desire safety. And when a man feels safe with a woman, woo, now that's taking it to another level.
Do you think that, sometimes we want things that we aren't necessarily equipped to hold and cherish well?
Sometimes, yes.
Right?
For sure. Like love.
And I'll even say very personally, because I think accountability is important. I find male vulnerability and insight very endearing and very attractive. However, there have been instances in our relationship where you have tried to be very vulnerable and it was very dysregulating for me. Like, I couldn't cherish it or honor it or respond to it in a way that I think would create safety, or was kind of like really reflecting the fact that I actually do value it. It was actually more like repelling. Like something about it felt not good, like very foreign to me, or not right, or like it's like I want this thing, but now that I have this thing, and I think this happens a lot for people where it's like I really want, you know, I really want love, and then they get what I don't even want to say love because that's too conceptual.
Companionship.
I really want, I really want someone to help me and take care of me. But then when they help you, you keep correcting them. You keep telling them how to do it better. You say you want help, but when I try to give you help, you don't like the help. You're repelling it.
Yeah.
So like, I hear you when you talk about like safety, like it's like, do you think that, I don't even remember my question now.
Well, no, you was essentially.
There was a question, and I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Active question asking. Active question asking.
I think I went on a tangent, and I just lost my question.
It'll come back. So I'll just say this though. To your point, yes, there are things that we desire sometimes, and when we get it, like you said, we repel it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is. To me, that's just a form of there's still work that the individual needs to do.
So hell of a ride.
Go ahead.
I'm being protective of you, I think, because
don't protect me. Go ahead.
Well, this is the thing. I want to.
Well, protect me, but
no, I want to be considerate of you.
Okay.
I care about you and I love you, and I'm also really trying to learn how to take care of myself better because I haven't done that to my liking.
Okay.
So I think, I don't remember exactly what my question was, but it was coming from a place of like, I hear you when you say you really want safety and you deserve safety. And I think there have been times where I have not made you feel very safe, but I can also think of seasons where I have prioritized your safety and I felt like it was neglected or taken for granted.
Okay.
And that made me feel very unsafe.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was necessarily so much this like conscious, like what they call it, like comeuppance, or like you're getting back at. I don't think it's that, but I think it's more of like an emotional distancing. Like I'm going to stop being so considerate of you because it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to you. You feel like, okay, I got you.
I don't feel that way. In this last, maybe, what are we on, marriage 3 or 4 at this point? I don't feel that way now, but I think when I think back, when I think of how I entered marriage, your safety was my priority. Your safety, your comfort, your vision, your purpose, and I think over time, I felt like I got lost in it, and it was like I just felt played a lot. So then I think I started to feel like, well, I'm just gonna not be that. I don't even think it was a conscious thing. Yeah. Now I think you're a more mature man now. So I think now you're like, wait, I need safety. I want safety. And I think you could probably even honor it better. But like, this is the question. How do you come back? How do you restore safety when safety is disrupted or broken in relationships, whether it's a marriage or a friendship or even a child, a parent-child relationship? How do you restore safety when it's broken, especially when the brokenness is really connected to an ignorance, or like, that's why longevity is so difficult. Yeah.
I don't know if I have the answer for that right now. I think in all honesty, I think sometimes you can't come back. Yeah. You know, and that's the unfortunate part of relationships. But then I also think on the flip side, you come back, but you come back in a different way. Right. Right. And so, you know, but I think the hard part is coming back. Either way, that's the hard part. And You know, part of the issue is, you know, people can break safety, right? They can destroy safety, but depending on the level where that individual stands in your life, right? And so when a person who you adore, or you love, or your mama, or like somebody who, right, when they do that to you, you're crushed. Right. Now this is the aha moment I got from, you know, one of my first business coaches recently. We were having this conversation, and one of the things she said to me, she said, Joe, have you ever thought about the fact that growing up you had to be so strong, no matter what went on in your life, you had to be so strong that you really never had the opportunity to be crushed.
Yeah.
And now that you're a little more mature, you're a little wiser, and you've gone through something that's absolutely crushed you, you never knew what being crushed looks like. So now it's just a disaster. And I was like, dang, I never thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? And so to come back from being crushed is hard work as an adult when you've never felt like you've been crushed before, because you always had to be strong.
Yeah, it's kind of dormant. It's a
new experience.
Yeah. And it's accumulated experience. Man. It's like now that you're connected to that part of you.
Yeah.
All the other things that never really got attended to, maybe.
There you go.
I feel like that's really a hard place to be. And I also feel like it can be a proud place to be. Mm-hmm. Because on some level, I mean, you could look at it one way or another. You could look at it as almost like a desperation or like a breakdown, but you could also look at it as like I'm at a more secure space within myself to where I have now the capacity to do the thing. Like I'm vulnerable in a different way.
Yeah.
Like my you know, So,
and check this out. This is the other part of it that I think is important. Like, and this just has to do with anybody going through anything right. where they feel crushed, right? I think, you know, hopefully as you have these life experiences and you have a little bit more wisdom to you, hopefully, you're able to see also, because what happens when you get crushed or when something bad happens to you, what happens is for a lot of us, we automatically turn on this protective force field with saying that will never happen to me again.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so now you close yourself off to connecting with people the way that you should connect. You close yourself off sometimes to building that companionship. You close yourself, right? And so what I would hope is you have the wisdom, that you have the introspection, right? Mm-hmm. And the awareness to say, wait a minute, I'm doing that thing where I'm putting on this protective force field when I got to be careful with that. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm not careful with that, I'll fall back into all of those bad habits and those things that I were doing back when I would have that protective force field but wasn't aware of it.
Right.
Right? And so that's the other part of, you know, kind of what this conversation of some of us have never been crushed, or we've been crushed, but we've always had to be strong. And once you get crushed or you go through something, it's new, it's foreign, so you don't know how to deal with it. How do you get out of that? And then it's this force field, this protective force field that we put around ourselves because we never want what happened to us to happen again, mm-hmm. right? And that blocks certain things that you actually need in your life, but you have to have the wisdom and awareness to be able to see that.
So if this is a space that you're kind of in, where you're kind of like in a raw place mm-hmm. in yourself, what is it that you need from me? Like, what are you asking of the people in general, the people that love you, but specifically me?
Yeah. Patience. Mm-hmm. Patience is important. Understanding. Mm-hmm. A detachment of the outcome. Mm.
I heard that. I want to ask. I'm noticing a translation in my head, and I want to ask you if it fits. I feel like when you say a detachment from the outcome, I kind of feel like you're saying actually an openness to an outcome. Like
because sometimes we place the outcome that we desire, right? That we would like. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do that, and when that does not if that does not happen, we lose it again. Right, and so an openness to whatever outcome, whatever the universe is providing for us, right? But then I also was gonna say unconditional love, right? And I think it's also a place where sometimes you say what it is you want, and then it's because you haven't been there, and it's just such one of those places where it's very uncomfortable, one of those places where it's very scary. You think you know what you want, and you get it, and then you're like, I don't know if that feels good or if I want, you know what I'm saying? It's just a very foreign place.
Yeah, that kind of circles back a little bit to the things I was saying about the reciprocity thing, is like with the red flags and the yellow flags and the this and this. I mean, there is really what we're talking about sometimes is like an intuitive knowing, like an intuition, like a knowing, a spiritual cosmic knowing.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by red flags. We're not necessarily talking about like these like checkmate things like, oh, you did this, that means you're this, or oh, you did this, that means you're this. But the intuitive knowing, the intuitive center and direction is derived from you and whatever your higher being is.
Yeah.
That's derived from you. That's why the red flags and the green flags and the is within you. It's around like that. And so you're kind of making me think of that again, how like sometimes it's not, we haven't operationalized it and we've envisioned it in a way, but then as we're on our path and we're doing the thing, you become more enlightened. Like, oh, well, actually, I think actually maybe I want to do this instead of this. Yeah. Like you're kind of feeling your way through.
Yeah.
So I do understand what you're saying. I mean,
because nobody,
and that's where the grace comes in, right?
Yeah. Like, and nobody, sometimes, once again, you think you know, but you don't know, until you're on that journey and you're figuring things out, like it's like going into a candy store, for the first time, and you see all this beautiful looking candy and you're like, I want this, and then you're eating and you're like, this don't even taste good. You know what I mean? And so,
and then as a result of that, next time you go in the store, not to get that one. But that's the only way you didn't know.
That's the only way. That's the only way. And so, and I think like, let's be honest, like in our season where we are right now, we're going through the journey.
Yeah.
We're going through the journey and trying to figure out what candy we don't want. You know what I'm saying? And you're representing candy right now in a beautiful way. All the beautiful colors. But no, real talk. Like it is what it is, and it's so uncomfortable. There's tears. Mm-hmm. There's laughs. There's lack of sleep. Mm. There's sleeping a lot. There's working out a lot. There's meditation. There's therapy. There's conversation. Yeah. There's just so much that goes along with it. And I think at the end of the day,
prayer.
Prayer. You can't even forget prayer, boy. Sometimes, my prayer life been mean lately. It been mean. And for those of you who don't understand slang, mean is good, right?
The opposite.
Mean is good.
Let's play the game of opposites. We don't have to do that in this space, but I think it's good to say this because I asked you like what you need from me in the season, and you said these things, patience. You said an openness or a willingness to the outcome, not a fixation on any particular outcome.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? I want to make sure.
Unconditional love. Patience.
It was those three?
It was patience, unconditional love. the outcome, right? Remove yourself from the outcome.
One other thing.
Yeah, and then there was also 1, 2, 3. Did I say 4? I probably said 4.
I think you said one other thing.
Yeah.
But we'll need to know what that is.
Yeah.
But the follow-up question to that is then how are those things demonstrated? Like what exactly translates to you as unconditional love? What exactly is it that I think this is where people get stuck too. Mm-hmm. We like have concepts. Yeah. But like how did that translates into what we say, what we do, what we don't say, what we don't do, we don't usually define. Yeah. And then we're trying to do those things, but it doesn't feel that way to the other person sometimes because it's like in your mind, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a great question. And I think that's part of, you know, people don't communicate effectively enough to do exactly what you just said. Okay, so we've named these things. What does that look like?
Right.
Right. And sometimes you can't do it amongst yourselves.
Right.
That's where therapy comes in, right? That's where, you know, counsel. If you have a counsel, like I think sometimes when folks don't have therapy, I hope they have the right counsel, right? And counsel to me is individuals that may have been through what you've been through, they've gone through it, but they have a level of wisdom that you will honor, mm-hmm. right? And you will respect. And so that's a good question. Like,
because you're even making me remember when we went to Sedona those years ago. Yeah. And it really, talk about top of mind, it really hit my soul when I thought about the fact that Sedona was almost 5 years ago.
Sedona, Arizona, almost 5 years ago. We did a amazing couples retreat, but it wasn't a couples retreat. It was like individual work.
Yeah, we'll talk offline about how that felt. Not because I need to withhold, but this is already long.
Yeah.
But it really just, I had a lot of feelings mm-hmm. about the fact that that's almost been 5 years.
Yeah.
So anyway, but one of the things there was like connected to the conversation we're having is like, what are the behaviors that represent my expectation for companionship, like what I need or what I want, and then the other person gets to decide if they can do it or not. Yeah. Like remember how on our little worksheet, it was like you're supposed to then at the end be like, "This is my ask," and then I'm supposed to be like, "Can you do that?" And then you're like, "Yeah," or "Nah, I don't know if I can do that." Like we're gonna have to have an adjustment. Like that is a part of companionship. There isn't this just, I'm telling you to do these things, and then you just do them.
Right.
The other person has the autonomy, the choice to assess for themselves. Am I capable?
Yeah.
Do I have the capacity so that I'm not setting you up for the okie doke?
Yeah.
For those that don't understand slang.
The okie doke is for failure. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And we kind of berate people for that. Like you, just like the Clay and AD thing. What are you saying? He should have went through with this because he joined the show.
Yeah.
If he couldn't honor his choice, no, he should not have. Now he could have done a better job at his delivery. But at the end of the day,
all of us could do
either
better
way,
job.
this was going to hurt.
Yeah.
The truth of that dynamic was going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know? I think the last thing I'll just share in this episode, because it's been top of mind as we've been talking, and you've been talking as a man and as a Black man, and your personal journey around like safety and companionship and vulnerability is last night, like in the middle of the night, I told you that's when I'll be watching my shows and listening to stuff. I was listening to Iyanla Van Sant and Nick Cannon's interview.
Yeah.
And I haven't really fully processed my reactions to this, but he was kind of speaking.
Speak to that mic too.
Oh, I was talking to you. I'm sorry. It's my bad.
No.
He was really they were both kind of just speaking to how the culture has really robbed Black men of this kind of an experience with themselves, and how sometimes, a lot of times, and this is the responsibility of the culture too, women and Black women have kind of perpetuated this orientation to men, where it's like, yes, you're a provider and a protector, but it's like your value is really hinged upon what you can do and not really who you are, and how a lot of men, and Ayanna was like speaking to black men in particular, how like when they are not able to do in some ways because who they are is really wounded, there's a dismissiveness to them. Yeah. They're dismissed or berated. And that spoke volumes to me quite a bit, but it also spoke to me as a woman that also knows, like has lived and experienced and watched and heard how often women are not holding themselves, their hearts, and their relationship, who they're in relationship, accountable for their behavior because they don't want to be alone or they're afraid of rejection or whatever. So it kind of made me feel like, well, how do we do this? Like, how do you then really embrace and love the vulnerabilities of man without being a sacrificial lamb? Like without being a sacrifice. Because I hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm. The immediate answer that I have right now, which is crazy because like as soon as I thought about the answer, someone was like, don't even say that. But I'm going to say it, right? The same way that women, should hold up black men and go through the journey. My answer to your question is men have to do the same thing for women.
Right. And
I think it hurt to say that because it hurts to do that.
It's hard to do that? Or?
Yes. It's hard. It's because it's hard on a woman's end, right? That, right? As you're explaining, like to feel like, okay, I'm going to have to be the sacrificial lamb, right? To go through this journey with a man, giving them grace, allowing them to be, you know what I'm saying? And I think it should be reciprocated, but I'm saying it hurts to be on that journey.
Well, but see, my thing is, do anybody got to be a sacrifice? I don't know if anybody got to.
But think, is that the story? Is the story that we're telling ourselves is that we are the sacrificial lamb? Right. Is that just the story, or is it we all have a journey and an experience that we go through, and sometimes you don't know what it's going to look like. Yeah. Instead of, I know I'm going to have to sit through this mess. I'm going to have to go, you know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm talking to myself while I'm talking to you. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Right. It's kind of the way it's a perspective shift in a sense. Yeah. Like the narrative, the story you're telling in your head. Yeah. Around like how we're making sense of this thing. Wait, we could talk about this forever. We could go on and on and on. Yeah, we didn't even talk. We were planning to talk about money. Yeah, we'll talk about and that. Legacy. We'll get there. But today was all top of mind. Top of mind taking us to the top of mind. Like it is what it is. Like we flowed. We talked about what we were going to do today, but the energy, right? It took us somewhere else. Yeah, it did. The universe took us somewhere else. God said, this way, my child. Oh, you think you're doing what you want to do? This way, my child, right? So to close out, what's your takeaway from today?
I don't know. I'm really still just kind of, I think I'm processing. I don't think I have a fully crafted takeaway. I think I'm just like in reflection. And it's a little slower than usual today for me. Yeah. I don't know if I have a full takeaway.
And it's okay to be there.
Yeah.
It's okay to be there. I think we rush to the conclusion of so many different things too often, when it's okay to just sit back and just be like, hold on.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. I think one of my takeaways today, one of them is continuing to learn like how to communicate better. Right? Number 2 is just as much as we look at what other people are doing right or wrong, I got to look at myself the same way. And number 3 is like so many other people in this world, people who are watching our podcast, our family, our friends, we've been on a hell of a ride.
That is the persistent takeaway. I endorse that message.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're on an interesting ride right now. And take our own advice. Mm-hmm. That's my takeaway.
It's good shit, Dr. Joe.
That's good.
That's good.
All right. Well,
on that note,
with that said, make sure y'all like, subscribe, listen, y'all share, y'all watch all the episodes, watch the full episodes.
Comment below.
Share this with your friends and family. And just always remember that no matter what, life is beautiful, but you'll always probably be taken for a hell of a ride. Y'all take care.
Peace. Dr. Brandi.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And we are here to pose a bit of a challenge for you.
Yeah.
In this episode, you witness us sharing our reflections after watching various social media posts and popular television shows. So the challenge is for you to watch either your favorite show, whatever you're watching right now, or a specific show you could watch is Iyanla Fix My Life, the episode we were on, which is entitled...
It's entitled, just look up Shay Johnson, Iyanla Fix My Life.
What sister. The bleep? I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Shay Johnson, season 8, I believe.
Okay.
So you can always watch that. And as you're watching, you are likely going to have reactions. So the challenge is for you to identify and document what reactions you're having and what is that revealing to you about your continued therapeutic work.
About themselves, right?
Yeah, their work.
About yourself, your work. All right. I love that. I love that.
Get your healing.
Get your healing. We good?
We're good.
There we go.
It's
That's
your
challenge.